Welcome back to another episode of the Ducks Are Base podcast. I hope you guys are enjoying your off season so far. In this episode today, we'll be covering all things minor league Ducks. In our last episode, we covered all our professional MLB Ducks, and today we'll be talking about our Ducks that are in the minor leagues wide and far, as well as some that are were in the minor leagues but are currently playing indie ball. Fox, you want to start us off?
Yeah, so first is just Josh Kasevich, who we first initially believed would be the first guy called up, but in fact, it was another duck that we talked about. We're going to talk about. Josh Kasevich is currently with the Toronto Blue Jays in their AAA. He plays a mixture of shortstop and third base. The He basically would need right now, even though he's playing pretty okay in the minor leagues, batting 272 and having over around like a 791 OPS. It's just they just signed a Japanese player to be third base, Okamoto, and he's kind of pretty good right now. So it would really be the shortstop role, and he's basically looking for injuries to be able to get called up at this point.
Yeah, they called up. They've obviously been having Andres Jimenez at short, and then the big signing for the Blue Jays, Kazuma Akumoto, has been at third base. Kasevich has been playing solid so far in AAA. Just I would have thought he would have been the next man up at some point already. But just with how the Blue Jays roster is shaking out, I don't think it's possible he might get September call up. I don't know what his. I don't have his Rule 5 eligibility in front of me. But they might. I think they might give him a 40-man or not. What is it now? 28-man roster expansion in September. So hopefully Kasevich keeps rolling, and hopefully we'll see him in the big league sooner than later.
Next one up is Kenyon Yovan, who's currently on the Angels. He was initially drafted by the Seattle Mariners in 2016, then drafted in 2019 by the Angels, and he's been a reliever over the past few years. Primarily, this year he's had 26 appearances with a 3-2 record and a 3.72 ERA. He's collected 6 saves on the years, pitched 29 innings. Um, his strikeout to walk ratio is 37-10. He's given up 12 earned runs on this year on 2 home runs. He's just his WHIP is 1, which is not that great, and he has a pretty high home run per nine at point 0.6, but um, he's got a pretty good strikeout stuff with 11 strikeouts per nine.
Yeah. Quite honestly, the way I'd summarize it is I'm surprised he hasn't gotten a call between this year and last year. The Angels aren't great in the major league level with their bullpen, so it is very interesting to see the Angels kind of yo-yoing in and out. Some like saying washed up veterans, but like just picking up guys up off the street and trying to plug them in versus going in their minor league depth and try to see what works. The Angels aren't going to be good this year, or will for the foreseeable future, I guess. So I'm honestly shocked he hasn't been called up at this point.
But we'll see what goes on for the rest of the season. There's still a lot of time left for a lot of these players. Sabine Ceballos, the great player in 2023, he's had a real struggle over the past few years. He's had one really good season when he got traded to the Eugene Emeralds in the deal with. It was actually a big trade in 2024. They got paired in. He had a really good season, and then he's really struggled when moving to into Double A. Um, he's improved his on base percentage and his slugging, but his batting average has largely suffered. Uh, he's hit 10 home runs on the year, but the issue is um, the batting average is a little low for him to really get a call up to AAA.
Yeah, and obviously the Giants are, as a Giants fan, I'm pretty well versed in the organizational depth chart. I think third base or just the infield is a little log jammed right now in AAA. I know they've been trying Sabine out. He's been playing third and first primarily, with a few DH appearances mixed in. But I think it would take either a sustained performance or it would take uh, injuries in the AAA level for him to have an opportunity. Um, I think there are guys higher in the pecking order for the organization. Um, but I think, Sabina's has been, he's had some good games in the last month or so. He's had a pretty solid June. Um, you know, but I think strikeout numbers are still not where they where most people want them at. Striking out 60 guys or 60 times and walking 37 times. So I guess we'll see what happens the rest of the way.
Next, moving on to Brennan Malone, who's been on the Athletics, and he's having a similar issue with that Sabine has, where the Athletics have a really good infield and a
Yeah.
bunch of prospects on their team, not including Nick Kurtz and all their other infield as he plays first, second, and third. It's He had a little stint in AAA last year, and he's been really in AA this year. His numbers have dropped, but there's still a lot of season left to try and fix.
Yeah. Looks like he's batting 204, which is not great, but I think he's missed a bunch of games with injury. I don't have that in front of me. Um, like Fox said, the infield's a log jam. You got guys like Jacob Wilson, um, Max Muncy, those kind of guys in the major league level. And then obviously in AAA, you're sitting behind. Well, I don't think he's a AAA yet, but you're behind DeVries, um, in his Double A teammate Leo DeVries. AAA they got a couple guys up there as well, so it's just a matter of seeing if he can improve his numbers over time. I don't Obviously we're not tuned in. We don't know what the A's are working on with him, or if he's a potential piece for the future, or if they trade him. As a potential, they are kind of in a starting to open a buy window. They're locking up all our young guys. So it's possible he might get traded. But I think it'll be interesting to see, where Malone kind of shapes out with the Ace organization.
Yep. And now we'll move to the surprise call up of the season. Riku Nishida that got called to the major league for around 2 weeks there. He got sent back down, but it's likely he'll come up as he's now on the 40 in September if the White Sox are still in it, and they currently are. They're really the big surprise story of the year, turning around a pretty bad franchise since 2021 after they had their little run.
Yeah. Um, you know, obviously congratulations to Riku for making the big leagues. Since getting sent down, it was a fun little stretch for the White Sox with both Riku and Murakami for the Japanese fan base. Um, but looking like he's still pretty solid in AAA. In his last 7 games, he's batting 5 for 17 with making that a 294 clip. Uh, Only 3 strikeouts. A lot of his OBP is slightly lower since coming back, but I think the White Sox kind of see what they have in Riku, so may see him back in September. Um, but yeah, I think Riku is definitely the surprise call for I think both of us when he got called up in late May.
Next, we'll go to RJ Gordon. He had his first this year. He's been really in Double A, and he's really struggled to get going. And he's being put into. He's starting a lot of games, but he's been giving up a bunch of runs. But the Mets entire franchise right now is a bit of a mess. They
Yeah.
they don't have really good infield prospects. They've traded a bunch of them, and they're really running out of pitchers or even effective pitchers. David Peterson got traded to the Cubs, and it looks infinitesimally better because he now has an infield to help protect his ERA. So we'll see. RJ Gordon still has a long career ahead of him, and we'll see what he does.
Yeah, just wanted to caveat. He did miss some time at the beginning of the season. He was on the IL for a little while. He just got back off in May, so it's been. I'm sure he's still coming back from injury, whatever it is. Minor league baseball injury reporting isn't always the greatest. So hopefully he finds his groove. I think what I don't know what injury it was, but I think obviously whatever injury it is, he may most likely will struggle just getting back into the feel of things. His numbers on paper don't look great. He has a 7.81 ERA. Um, batters are hitting 333 off him. Not great numbers, but we'll see what happens as he this is 2 months back from his injury, whatever it was. So I'll definitely be interested to see follow along with let's see with the Binghamton Rumble Ponies and see where he goes from there.
Ken, you want to talk about our two Indie Bowl players?
Yeah, so Anthony Hall and Josh Molaris are currently playing indie ball after getting released from their respective organizations. Anthony Hall is playing for the Sioux Falls Canaries in South Dakota. And let's see what his numbers are looking like. Batting 302 with 4 home runs and 24 RBIs, getting on base at a 396 clip. Good to see him getting back into, not affiliated baseball, but some form of professional baseball after getting cut by the Yankees in the middle of 2025. Same goes for Josh Molaris. He's currently playing for the York Revolution in the American Association, I believe that's what it's called. Let's see what his numbers are. He's been playing there for the last 2 seasons after getting cut by the Texas Rangers. This year, he is 2-1 in 24 games out of the pen, 3.27 ERA. Not obviously, I'm not too hip in indie ball knowledge. I would probably say the same for Fox, but it's good to see the Ducks still involved in baseball in some capacity, and we obviously hope and root for them getting back to the minor leagues in some capacity.
Next, we'll move on to some newer players that came up a few years ago. Brock Moore, he's got moved up to Double A after a really good stint in High A in the Mariners program. He's struggled a lot, but primarily it's because he's had multiple high run innings. Looking at his Double A stats, he's had 2 4-run innings that he's given up.
Yeah.
And we can't really see if those were his runs that he's given up, because one of them he went a third, and another one he went 2/3. So it could be that he's giving up runs like they're throwing him out there in early scenarios.
Yeah.
And where he's giving up the runs, but he's struggled, but his high A performance gives good credence to a potentially better rest of the season for him.
Yeah, I think high A, or for him going back to high A, obviously high A in the Northwest League is a kind of more of a hitter friendly environment for him to put up the performance he's had this year. Definitely, like Fox said, gave some credence to where he can be. A lot of last year was injuries and just kind of trying to get back to normal. I did pull up one of his recent outings. So yesterday he pitched in the Arkansas Travelers game. He did give up a solo home run, and then just a bunch of hits. He gave up 2 runs that were 3 runs if you count the ghost runner on second. One ended up being unearned. The rest were kind of the bullpen, the next guy inheriting it, and giving up another run. So obviously, Brock Moore's had a good start to 2026. Hopefully, kind of adjusts to the Eastern League. I believe it's the Eastern League. I'm probably wrong, but if I'm not, I'm pretty sure it's the Eastern League. But he's had a good 2026 in the Northwest League. I think this is him getting acclimated to the Eastern League. A lot of these teams have their top prospects in Double A right now. Like obviously, like the Mariners have Montez, all those guys in Double A. Like he faced Joshua Baez, and for those of you that don't know, he's one of their the Cardinals' top prospects who went 2 for 4 yesterday, batting 400 in Double A, which is absurd. But he's going up against quality talent, so I think it's just a matter of time. He's gonna adjust to how Double A kind of looks like.
Next, we got Colby Shade, who's in High A with the Miami Marlins. Last year, he had a cup of coffee in Double A. Now he's in High A again, and he's batting pretty okay. He has an 852 OPS. It wouldn't surprise me if later on in the season he has a chance to go back up to Double A and kind of prove up his worth. Yesterday on the first, so yesterday he went 2 for 4, scoring 2 runs and having a hit by pitch. So, and he's playing left field, so outfield primarily.
Yeah, and I think and it happens a lot in the minor leagues where guys go up and down just because of a higher affiliate or a lower affiliate needs bodies to fill out the roster. So it is possible with the amount of injuries that are happening for the Marlins in Double A, with Ivar Arquette and other guys suffering injuries in the lately. It's possible he does get a cup of tea again in Double A.
Next, moving to Bennett Thompson, who just got promoted to Double A
Yep.
a few days ago.
Yes.
We're not going to look at his Double A stats. He's played one game and had 5 appearances and hit 1 home run. It was a
Hit a
grand slam,
grand slam.
and he striked out 3 times. So,
Yeah, we can.
um, but overall, he's batting 310, one overall 1,000 OPS. So in low and high A. So yeah, he definitely deserved the call up. We'll see what he does in Double A. And he has some chances of playing somewhat recently, as um, the Guardians are still looking for full catcher, I believe, still
Yes.
to be their like second or third catcher on the roster. So
Yeah.
um,
Oh,
there may be some chances, maybe next year or in 2 years, but it really depends on how everything goes.
yeah. Bennett Thompson definitely one of the obviously we've talked about it previously. He didn't have a great start to his um, professional career after getting drafted out of Oregon. But he's adjusted. Whatever he did, it worked. Um, he's had, like Fox said, he's batting 310 with a 405 or 485 OBP in high A before getting called up. One of the underrated prospects in the Guardians system right now that kind of no one really is talking about. Um, Obviously, like Fox said, they kind of have struggles in the catcher department in the higher levels. Um, I don't really know who their AAA catcher is right now, but I know they're. They just called him up. Cooper Ingle is their one of their catchers. They traded for Patrick Bailey from my Giants. So there's a gap between their major league catching system and where Bennett Thompson is. There's where all the catching prospects are. So there's definitely room for him to, um, if he shows promise in Double A, that he may or may not get a cup of tea in Triple A in September. Um, but I know it's definitely a good sign to see Bennett Thompson adjusting after struggling in his early cup of tea after getting drafted in 2024.
Moving on to Isaac Aon. He's really just been devastated by injuries his entire career.
Yeah.
He's had multiple arm surgeries, two at Oregon, which really hampered his time in the minors. He's struggled. I would give him maybe two, at least another this season, and then part of next season to really see where he's at. He's basically gonna have to relearn how to throw with his arm, and it may never be the same. So he really has to reinvent him, like all the pitchers that have multiple arm surgeries in their careers.
Yeah. Obviously, we both didn't see much of Isaac Aon, like Fox said. During our time at Oregon, Aon was out with surgery 2 years in a row. This year, he had a good start in A ball with the Ontario Tower Buzzers, going 1-1 with a 2.96 ERA. Had 35 strikeouts, only walking 5 guys. Batters are hitting 232 off him. He was starting games primarily in A ball, but when he got called up to the Great Lake Loons, the Dodgers high A affiliate, he's been primarily out of the bullpen. Numbers are okay, 4.88 ERA, but I think this is maybe just him. Oh, he's giving up severely more home runs. Um, but batting average is still about the same. Whip is a little higher. Funny enough, he did get suspended like a month ago for whatever reason. But that would be something I would love to see what happened. Um, yeah, I think Aon still getting acclimated to pro ball in a sense. But he's showing promise in his numbers during his short stint in Ontario earlier this year. So we'll see how he adjusts to Great Lake and that high A ball. And obviously, we are rooting for him to succeed after injuries cut his time short at Oregon.
Quickly, we'll move on to Anthony Arrows. It's his first season. He's the catcher within the Dodgers program. He's currently on the 7-day IL with an injury. He last played in June, early in mid June on the 14th. He was really productive in his low A stint, and he got promoted to high A. And there's definitely a spot in there for him. He's really the Dodgers organization is like in a huge drought of catchers. It's basically Rushing and Will Smith kind of carrying the organization, and then it's just some old guys really filling out Double A and Triple A. So we'll see if he can really show he could really be potentially in 4 to 5 years could be a backup catcher to potentially Dalton Rushing. But there's rumors that Will Smith could be moving to first base following the retirement of Freddie Freeman in maybe 2 to 3 years.
Yeah, it will be interesting. I think with the gap of the talent in the catching department, or has he mostly played catcher? Yeah,
Yep, he's played catcher. That
yeah. They're lovely. He had a good start. He was obviously catching for Isaac Aon, teammates with Aon in Ontario. I believe he got called up first. Aon was shortly after. Arrows had a 313 clip batting with a 452 OBP and 463 slug. Great numbers. Obviously, like Fox said, he's been on this 7-day IL since June 15th. Didn't have a great start to his high A stint, but obviously I think we'll put a pause on that and see what happens when he comes back from the injury.
We'll roll through a bunch more of these. Aaron Zavala, he's in AAA in the Rangers minor league system. He's in Round Rock right now. He's batting 775, better than his last stint at AAA. He's just waiting for potential call up. He's an outfield prospect, so looking to try and fill some spots. We'll move on to Adam Mayer. Adam Mayer is in the Seattle Mariners organization. He's currently in high A, where Brock Moore recently was. He's a starter, has a 4.8 ERA. He's pitched 54 innings. He's given up 29 runs, has 53 strikeouts, has 17 walks, so pretty good ratio. Just home run issues currently this year, giving up 8 long balls this year.
Yeah, I mean, I think that just checks out to how hitter friendly the Northwest League is really. Um, looks like solid strikeout numbers. 53 strikeouts. Um, but I think it'll be interesting to see. Obviously started his career drafted by the Atlanta Braves. So it'll be interesting to see his development with Seattle. Obviously, they develop pitchers. Let's put it that way. So we'll see what happens with Adam Mayer the rest of the year.
Nico Talad, he's currently in AA. He was in AAA a few. He is a left-handed pitcher also in the Mariners organization. I guess the Mariners love to come down to watch Oregon games and draft Oregon pitchers, I guess. He was in independent ball a few years out of college, so he got picked up in the draft. He was initially in AAA last year, and then was also in high A. Now, starting this season, he's in AA. 3.82 ERA. He's had 11 starts. He's really just a depth starter in this organization. So he really needs to develop something really big to be able to get starts. As
Yeah.
the Mariners have one of the best starting rotations in baseball.
Yeah, I know he's at the time of this recording, he has a scheduled start tonight. So by the time this episode drops, we'll know how he did. Like Fox said, definitely an organizational piece. But I think guys could come out of nowhere and make a mark on an organization. So hopefully, we're rooting for him. Hopefully he finds something that maybe add to our list of MLB products in the future.
Ken, you want to talk about the next two?
Yeah. Where did it go? Jacob Walsh, Eugene Home Run King, started the year in Low A Fredericksburg with the Nationals of organization. Was promoted, actually he went 259, hit 6 home runs. Strikeout numbers kind of look like Oregon strikeout numbers. And then was promoted in June to the Wilmington Blue Rocks, the Nationals high A affiliate. Primarily playing first base throughout his time in the minor leagues, and DH'd as well. But an adjustment period for Jacob Walsh. Numbers aren't looking great. He's batting. What is he batting? 181. 1 home run, 6 RBIs. Definitely just an adjustment period. He may be still dealing with some injury. He was on the IL for a little bit at the end of May. So, I think Walsh can make some noise. Obviously, everyone affiliated with Oregon is rooting for him. Obviously, he is and will be one of the Oregon greats of the program. So we'll see where Walsh goes. It's possible we'll see in 2-3 years time. I don't want to predict anything now, but I think we'll see in 2-3 years time where Walsh will be at. Next, we'll move to Mason Neville. Mason Neville was the 4th round pick for the Cincinnati Reds in 2025. Obviously, he is the home run single season record in Oregon history. Started the year in, I believe he was in Low A. Struggled for a bit, or struggled mightily. Batting 155. Um, kind of had a weird season. I think he got injured. Um, doesn't say he was injured, but I think he was probably injured at some point. Sent down to the Arizona Complex League in May. He was there for about a month after putting up a 418 clip with 7 home runs and 17 RBIs. I take that with a grain of salt just because it's rookie ball. And then he came back to the Florida League, played for a little bit, and then recently got called up to the Dayton Dragons, the high A affiliate. He's batting 200 with 3 home runs and 4 RBIs. There has been a lot of organizational movement in the Reds affiliates, with guys moving up and down between high A and double A and low A to high A. Mason Deville is obviously part of that. So we'll see. I think he's still adjusting to a lot of things really. Off speed, I think, is just from what I've seen. Off speed is still a little of his struggle. Just adjusting to higher spin rates, higher um, more break on pitches. So we'll see how Neville pans out.
All right, moving on to Chase Meggers. He's in the New York Mets system. He's in low A right now. Last year he had 19 games. This year he's had 54. He struggled a little bit more. He's had basically all of his stats have went down. So he's basically all of his stats basically went down 30 points. So his OPS went from 710 to 670, and his batting average went from 276 to 240, and that coincides with declines in his on base percentage. But his slugging has gone up. He's hit 2 more home runs than he did last year, so he's added a little bit of pop. But really, offensive numbers really don't matter as a catcher. It's more of what your defense and what your pitching numbers are with and without you. So, and he also has to learn how to call games, which is the big thing.
Yeah, I mean it's. I know he's been RJ Gordon's teammate for a little bit, obviously in Oregon and in the Mets affiliate system. So it'll be interesting to see kind of how he. I think he's still adjusting. I don't know if has he suffered any injuries. No. Yeah, I think he's just repeating a ball is not great as a prospect. But I think got his little cup of tea in the last year. And then we'll see. Numbers aren't great across the board, but like Fox has been saying throughout this episode, a lot of season left. So we'll see what happens with Meggers the rest of the year.
Yeah. The second to last player that we have here, Carter Garati, who signed a minor league contract as an undrafted free agent with the Texas Rangers. Uh, for some reason, I guess there was probably an injury. He got called up to AAA this year for one game.
Yes.
Absolutely raked. He went two for 3 with a home run, and then immediately just left and went back to IA. So I don't really know. Probably there was some injury that they had
Phil, yeah.
to mull
Yeah.
over, but
Yeah.
um, it was an interesting performance. He's sadly not kept up his insane 2.467 OPS in AAA. Instead, he's only batting 659, 207. It's largely he just needs to we'll see if his offensive numbers translate. He had a really good end of his season at Oregon. Um, but really it's just a question of whether the offense will translate to wooden bats and higher speed pitching.
Yeah. Did get, like Fox said, got a cup of tea in AAA. The Rangers had injuries and needed a body, so they called up Carter Garrotti for one game. In that game, he did hit a home run. Um, you know, I think it's Carter Garrotti is that interesting player where he doesn't really put the ball in the air, and I think the numbers show, right, like 305 OBP, but he has a 1.11 ground out to actual out rate. So basically means like more ground outs than actual out, like the ratio. Um, 3 home runs in high A. One I was matching his numbers at Oregon. I think at the end we were just like, whoa, he get home runs. Um, but yeah, I think we'll see what happens. I know let's look at the numbers: 31 strikeouts, 6 walks, a lot of strikeout in his game. I think we kind of saw that at Oregon. But he puts the ball on the ground. But I don't, I don't know. I think it'll be an interesting organizational piece for the Rangers moving forward.
We'll move on to our last duck in the minor leagues that we're going to talk about in this video. There may be more that we're missing, and be sure to message us on Instagram or on Twitter if we're missing any of them. But we are talking about Julian Hernandez, who was playing indie ball and got his chance in the major leagues with the Arizona Diamondbacks. And he's played only 2 games so far, 2 games in low A with no starts, but just getting in the game. He had a pretty good 5 strikeout appearance in his first game. He gave up 1 run with 3 walks and 3 strikeouts in 1.1 innings on the first. So yesterday, or yesterday. So there's not really enough information to really make a declaration about his chances, but it's good to see him at least get some chance.
Yeah. Julian Hernandez was pitching for the Long Beach Coast in the Pioneer League. Like Fox said, that's indie ball. 28 strikeouts to 6 walks in 18 and 2/3 innings in 13 games. And then got a call from the Arizona D-backs saying we want to pick you up. I hope to. Hopefully, I know I'll just look at the schedule, see when Visalia comes down to San Jose. I'll hopefully try to catch him in San Jose against the Visalia Rawhide if he's still there. But yeah, like Fox said, definitely can't really make any declarations yet. He's had 8 strikeouts to 3 walks. Promising start, only giving up 1 earned run. But along with his, the last guy that I think we one more guy we missed, Logan Mercado, his organizational teammate. He came out of nowhere. Then the D-backs picked him up, right? So it's not like there's not precedent, but I think it's just a matter of can he adjust to affiliate ball. Obviously, that's different, a little bit different than independent ball. So we'll see. And I kind of on that note, we'll touch on Logan Mercado. He's currently in the Double A, the Amarillo Sod Pottles, the Double A affiliate of the D-backs. played for in 3 different levels this year. Okay. Started the year at Hillsborough, and moved up. And he's been just yo-yoed back and forth between three different um, three different affiliates. Fox, what do you think on that? What do you think about looking at his numbers?
I think him being moved around kind of shows that they're really using him. They're using his talents. He is a little bit of an older prospect as he played all of his years at Oregon. It's it's gonna be an uphill battle. He really needs to show out, but they basically ferry him around just to try and fill pitching injuries and getting relief appearances in. But we'll see. It's still this is, I believe, his second year, if I'm correct. I think
Yes.
yes, his second year in the minors. So it's no time really to panic or anything. It's really just trying to get better and see if you can figure out your role in the club.
Yeah, I think in his short time, he's played in every level of affiliate ball, right? So he played 2025 rookie ball, A ball, and triple A for one game where he got shelled. And then same goes for this year. Where he's played in Hillsborough, a high A ball, double A in Amarillo, and brief stint in Reno. So I don't know. That kind of says what they think about him in the organization. But obviously, like sometimes you just need a guy to fill a role, eat innings. Um, but I don't know. I think it'll be like Fox said, uphill battle. Older prospects are kind of like not forgot. I guess forgotten about sometimes. But you never know when you might make that break and then rise up into higher um, higher spots in the pecking order.
All right. That'll be our minor league episode. It's a really long one. Uh, we'll see. Also, just make sure to if you want, give us feedback on this. If you'd rather have it be like each level of the minors and be able to go more in depth with each prospect. We're always open to feedback and
Yes.
information on how to do these episodes and see what you guys want. But overall, it's a good. It's the minor league ducks are growing as Oregon keeps getting better every year. So hopefully our next one will be even longer next time. And can you want to add anything?
Yeah, I mean, I hope you guys got a little something out of the episode. Obviously, the long list of minor league ducks is a long episode. I'll We'll hopefully have clips up on YouTube Shorts and on Reels. So yes, it's easier to digest with some highlights of their season as well. But yeah, we have a lot of exciting content coming up this off season. So make sure to like and subscribe on YouTube and Spotify. And then also follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Ducks on Base Pod. And we'll be continually posting content throughout the offseason. We got the draft coming up. The portal is closed. We'll be talking about transfers in and out. Have a lot of things to cover in the next few weeks. So I hope you guys are enjoying our content. And with that being said, we'll see you guys back for the next episode.